Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different because I'm talking about home decor, specifically ways that I have been making my house, which is a rental home, a house that we've been renting, making it feel like it's a little bit more personal and feels like it's our home. So I'm gonna share those things. So I don't know if you guys saw, we had sold our last home, which we did a home tour and stuff while I was still pregnant with Isla. And we had kind of decided last minute to put our house up on the market just because right when I was about to have Isla, we started to realize that Nikosh really needed a backyard, which, we did not have a backyard. We had a little space, a little patio kind of backyard at our last home, but it just didn't feel like it was enough of a backyard for Nikosh as he was getting bigger. Nikosh just started to have so much more energy and he wanted to run and play and everything. And we also lived in a home that was 3 stories. It was kind of more of a vertical home. It went upwards instead of being a bigger home that I guess you could walk around and stuff. So it started feeling a little bit more stressful to have a home like that with a toddler and then knowing that we had another baby on the way. So right at the very last minute, we decided to put our home up for sale, but it also sold really quickly. It sold within the week that we put it on the market. So we weren't really ready. I think in our minds, we had expected to have a few months to wrap our heads around it, find a new home, do all that kind of stuff. So we ended up having to move into a house that we are renting. And this was supposed to be a temporary move until we found a house to purchase. But it turns out over the past year, especially with everything that's been happening with the pandemic, I started a new company, which also just makes your income and your budgets and stuff feel a little bit all over the place when you're just getting started. We've kind of been in this limbo, right? And it made us realize that maybe we're gonna stay in this house that we're renting a lot longer, at least indefinitely. We don't know when we're going to move out. So we passed our 1-year lease. Our contract on this rental came up really quickly and our landlord decided to just let us go month to month here. And so since we're here kind of indefinitely, we could, maybe potentially pick up and move in the next couple of months if we find a house that we really love, or we could be here for a lot longer, maybe even the next year or 2. And that has made me feel like I want to personalize this home a little bit more. The thing that gets tricky if you guys are renting or if you've ever rented a home is that you don't want to do anything that's really permanent. You can't do anything that's permanent unless you get your landlord's approval, and you kind of don't want to spend that money either. You don't want to put so much money into the house that you feel like you're just throwing money away unless you're going to be here truly for years and years to come. I have had friends who have renovated kitchens of places that they're renting just because they think that they're gonna stay there for years. And I guess that makes a lot more sense to me, but it's not my house. I don't own it. So I wanted to do things that would give it a personal touch, but not feel too expensive. So one of the first things that you can do for any home, whether you're renting it or not, is to get rugs for each of your rooms. And the reason for that, there are actually several reasons to have rugs. The main reason is because it can really just set the tone of the room. There's a rule when it comes to rugs that all of the furniture in that room should technically sit on the rug. I break those rules sometimes, especially in a rental, because you might not want to commit to the perfect size rug because you might sometimes have to customize it. But the rug can be something that's vibrant and colorful and really sets the tone for the rest of your furniture and adds that color and warmth to that room as well. So it gives it that personal touch. For instance, in our living room, the rug that we have is this vintage handmade rug from Turkey. It's a very special rug too. It has meaning to me because one of my best friends has a company called villageuncommon.com. They've gone to all these villages and they work with all of these artisans in these villages in Turkey where they find these handmade rugs. They're all vintage and they sell them to you when you go onto their website. So they obviously helped me find this rug and they gave me a deal. There's no doubt about that, but it's a beautiful rug. It's exactly what I was looking for. This was a couple of years ago when we got this. It was for my last home. So they helped me find the rug that was perfect for that home. So it doesn't completely fit into this living room since it wasn't made for this living room, but I decided to keep it anyway because it is so pretty. It has so much color. People ask about it all the time. And you can see I'm sitting on a sofa that's almost a whitish nude color. So there's not a lot of color to the sofa, but it doesn't matter when you walk into the home because we have so much color coming from our rug. So it really adds this nice warmth and a style to our living room. But if you go into all of our rooms, our dining room area has a rug that's completely covering the floor and our entire dining table and the chairs are on this rug. Our kitchen, we got a rug that I got actually just from Amazon, and it just adds a little bit of softness to the floor in there. And actually, know, having a rug in the kitchen has been really nice because, you know, Isla goes in there while I'm cooking and stuff and she gets tired easily, so she just wants to sit down. Sometimes she'll pull things out of like her own little cabinet and stuff. It's like a soft little space that she can sit on. And even I'll sit down with her while I'm like waiting for like the pot to boil or something like that. All of our rooms have rugs. We have just rugs that set the tone for every single room. And some tips for you if you don't want to spend the money on an expensive rug, because they can get pricey. Rugs can become thousands and thousands of dollars depending on what you're looking for, especially if you have to customize for the room size that you are trying to put it in. Some tips that I have are, you know, you can look at Ikea. Like I said, the rug in our kitchen we got from Amazon. The rugs that are in a lot of our rooms for this house, since we're renting it, we got them on West Elm. Some of them were like anywhere between like $50 to $100, which is a really good price for large rugs. They were on sale. I'll throw that out there when I bought those rugs from West Elm. But there are companies like Ruggable, so if you have pets or if you have children and you know that they're gonna get messy, you can throw those into the washing machine. And also if you do wanna get the right size, like you're gonna follow the rules, or you maybe even own your home and you wanna get the perfect sized rug for your living room and it has to be custom, you can go to a carpet store or a carpet manufacturer, and they actually have very surprisingly cool designs there too. And you can have them either give you scraps, they can sell you scraps that they just cut into the right size. So like if you have like a small entry area that you need a rug for instance, I had something like that in my last home. You know, they can just cut you a scrap size that fits perfectly in there and it won't be as expensive. And that can be the same for, you know, a rug that you put into one of your rooms too. Maybe they have, you know, like a material that's just been sitting there for a little while and they'll cut you a deal for that. So that's what you should be looking for when it comes to a rug. But there are just so many different options. And a rug is also really useful if you have toddlers that scream, because sometimes that screaming, even if they're just having fun and stuff, can be really jarring and echo and stuff. And if you're trying to like have some like quiet time as a parent, which you know you never really have, rugs help to calm the jarring screams that you get from your kids. One easy way to really personalize your home, and it's like a quick way to do that too, is to buy candles. I think most people know that candles can really personalize a home, especially because, you know, the scent of your home really matters. I like remember growing up as a kid, like going into like my friends' homes and stuff, all of them had specific smells. Sometimes it was like a cultural kind of smell, like the types of foods that their parents make and stuff. Sometimes it was like a very specific smell, like sometimes their moms were very like specific about like the different fragrances that they had within the home. And I feel like that makes it feel like it's your own home. It personalizes it a lot. So I think playing with different candles can also be really pretty. They can really just like look, they are decor for your home. And they're an easy way to add color, like a touch of color to a bathroom or to, you know, like a bookshelf, or, you know, in our case, I have lots of different candles, even like a really large Diptyque candle sitting on the fireplace mantle. So candles are just a really great way to just add a little bit of extra color and add that personal fragrance to your home too. Another great way to just completely change the look of your home in a second is to add plants. I went a little overboard with plants. I feel like it maybe even looks like I'm in the jungle right now in this setting, but I have plants now all over the house. I haven't truly figured out where I want all of the plants to go. I kind of went a little wild. I really did. You know, there are all these like plant delivery services, and the girls on my team were actually testing some of them out. So I was overhearing one of the conversations they were having, and they were all recommending Bloomscape. So Bloomscape is one of the first places that I purchased some of my plants from. I have loved all of the plants. The only thing that was a little bit of a dud was I got an herb garden from them and they arrived just like dead. But if you guys have ever tried to deal with herbs, they're actually really finicky and very delicate. So that was okay. I took one loss because the rest of the plants I got were really in great shape. I got like a medium-sized fiddle leaf fig tree for our bedroom. It's healthy and beautiful. You know, like fiddle leaf fig trees, if you guys haven't dealt with them, can be a little bit finicky, and the one that we got arrived super healthy and really pretty, and it's been nice. It also came with its own pot, which is really nice if you don't want to go about like trying to find the right pot, because that can actually be a whole task in itself. And I'll give you guys some tips on that too. Another thing that I ended up doing though is I did start to purchase plants from local nurseries, partially because they're like small businesses here in Los Angeles and stuff, and I'm trying to help out, but also because those plants come really healthy. They get delivered from the nursery. You know that they've been taking really good care of them. You can easily call up the nursery if you're having a problem with the plants. I'm not a plant person. I kill plants so easily, which is why I wasn't too committed to it. But now I'm feeling a lot more confident about taking care of these plants. So for our living room, for instance, right after Christmas, we missed immediately having that warmth that a Christmas tree gives to the living room. So as soon as we got rid of our Christmas tree, it looks so bare in that little corner of our living room. So we got this fiddle leaf fig tree from one of our local nurseries. It's called Rolling Greens. It arrived, it's super healthy, it's really pretty, and I was able to get a really large one because some of those delivery services like Bloomscape, they don't give you the really big fiddle leaf fig trees and big plants like that. So I was able to get a really large one for our living room, and it feels like we've got almost like a tree now living in our living room. I've bought lots of other little plants too. Some of them are not necessarily in their homes yet because I'm still trying to figure it out. And I'm also still trying to figure out what pots I want for them. A mistake I made in the past with plants is that I would buy the pots separately and then try to like buy a plant, then fit it into the pot that I bought, and it would just not work out. So instead, the approach I took this time was to buy a bunch of these plants, then find the pot that I want for each of these. So they're kind of living, you know, in their own little, like not necessarily the right pot yet until I find the right pots for them. And it's just an easier way to do that because you really can't make it fit perfectly unless you like really know where it is that you're gonna keep the pot. It's gotta have like a look to it. The right size, you wanna measure what they come in, unless you're good at like transplanting the plant to a whole different pot, which is a whole other thing and I'm not ready for it yet. So, you know, that's my tip, is to get the plant, then find the pots that you want to put your plants into. You know, if you go to like a furniture store or look online, they have like pot collections, and it doesn't mean that those collections are going to work. So don't like commit your heart to that. Don't look at these pots and be like, this is the collection that I want to go for my home or my backyard or something. Wait till you get the plants, then make the decision. But I recommend getting plants. It truly adds life to your living room, your office. It makes you feel like there is this living, breathing thing in your home. It gives you life to your home. And also, you can get plants that purify the air. Like the rubber tree plant is not only an easy plant to take care of. I have had this for years, not growing a ton, but it has survived me not watering it for like 2 weeks, for instance, like forgetting to water it. This plant really, it survives a lot, but it's also an air purifying plant, so it's nice to have that in your home too. All right, so something that will really change a home, and this is not just a rental home, but if you buy your home, what you notice is that, you know, you can get the generic light fixtures, and I'm talking about like the stainless steel, kind of just generic light fixtures that you see in a lot of like apartment rentals and stuff, in a house rental even, or even like a new home that's been like built for a development. You'll see that they have these kind of like generic light fixtures. And in the last home that we had, because it was our home that we purchased and stuff, we really invested in nice light fixtures, and that just made a complete difference in that house. Moving into this house, we had these terrible stainless steel light fixtures that were hanging in our kitchen, and it's all I could look at. I spent a whole year being like, every time I'd walk into the home, I'd be like, oh gosh, these things are so ugly. And it's because I got spoiled by these beautiful light fixtures that we had in our last home. I think that's why I like really fixated on it. So I started looking on like Amazon and stuff to see if there were more affordable lights, because the light fixtures that we bought at our last home were not affordable. We truly bought them to be pieces in that home and like be part of the decor of that home. So in this one, again, because this is not our home, I don't necessarily have permission to change things out in here at all. So I wanted to get light fixtures that I wasn't gonna spend a ton of money on, but that would still make a difference. And it turns out you can get some pretty affordable light fixtures that are really nice. So in the kitchen area is where I decided to change the light fixtures. And mostly it's because this is truly, when you walk into our home, it's the first thing that you see. So I changed out these light fixtures. I got them on Amazon. You know, I like that brass look in the kitchen, but the kitchen decor, like the look of the kitchen, is all really muted colors. The backsplash in the kitchen is a dark gray color, and then the cabinets are all white and stuff. So I didn't want to like really go too far off of the decor of that kitchen, because again, I'm not going to renovate the entire kitchen, and it's also a brand new kitchen. Why would I do that? So we got these light fixtures that the focus is actually more of like a black, like they have black wires, they have a little bit of brass on them, and then the actual light fixture is a white glass. It almost looks like it's a ceramic as well. And they look so pretty. They were easy to change out. We got someone from TaskRabbit to just show up and he changed them in like 5 minutes. I changed one of the other lights also that was over the sink, and same thing, got it on Amazon, and it was just so easy. It was like too easy to change these out. I got a before and after shot of the ones that are hanging in the kitchen, but my husband surprised me by changing out the one that was over the sink, so he didn't realize I was gonna get a before and after shot of that one to show you guys. So I don't have a before shot of that, but trust me, it was this like generic, I don't know how to explain it. It was like stainless steel, and it was like this rod that had like 4 spotlights on it. It was also just an ugly color of light. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Like there are these tones to different lights. The tone of the lights were just so like ugly. It's like that ugly fluorescent light or something where you, like if you go into a dressing room at the stores and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh God, I hate this lighting. That's the way those lights were too. So the lights that I replaced them with are just so much nicer. They feel pretty. We got nice warm light bulbs for them, and it's made such a huge difference in here. And speaking of the lights, so I know a lot of people like to buy lamps and stuff when they are renting homes. I know that like in my early 20s, I was buying lamps for like all of the living room and the bedroom and stuff like that to just add that extra light, because sometimes you don't want to have just the full, bedroom light on or the living room light on. You want to like tone it down a little bit and have it kind of give you like a mood, right? So what we have done is put all of the lights that are in like our main rooms, like in the bedrooms and also in the living room and kitchen, we put all of them on dimmers, and that has made a huge difference. It's not a super cheap project, but it's one that makes a really big difference, and I don't think that your landlord, you might want to run it by them. I don't think that they're going to be upset that you actually like upgraded the home for them by putting all of the lights on dimmers. So if your home doesn't actually have dimmers, I highly recommend doing it because it makes the home feel like it's just a more functional home. You can just set the tone and the mood for each of your rooms, and it's a really nice function to have. And then the last thing that you can do in a home that you're renting is you can change out the hardware. Very similar to light fixtures, if you go into a rental home, you tend to find that these homes have that, again, the stainless steel handles all over the cabinets and stuff, and it's like just pretty generic, right? And so if you want to add some kind of personality to the kitchen area, to the bathrooms, to the hallways, if that's where you have these stainless steel handles, you can just change these out. And again, I went onto Amazon, I purchased black handles because again, I didn't want to like go too far off of the actual decor of this home because everything was so muted in here. So I went with black. I went for matte black actually, and it turned out to be so much easier than I expected. The kitchen has a significant amount of handles in it. So I ended up having to buy 50 handles, and I got them on Amazon. And the tip that I'll give you is when you are measuring these handles to change them out, just make sure that you're measuring the actual holes that are already in the cabinets that you're changing out, because if you measure the handle, it might not line up to where the screws were already put into the original handle. So make sure that you're measuring the holes. That's what truly matters, where the holes line up. That's what you want to measure, because the first round of the handles that I purchased for this home, guess what? They didn't fit. They were the same size handles as the handles that were already on the cabinets, but they didn't fit the holes. So I had to send those back and then get a whole new set of handles. So it was fairly affordable. Again, got them all on Amazon, and it was a really easy project. It took me about 3 hours to change out all of the handles in this entire house. And one thing that I did have that was handy, and I think like if you're gonna be doing any kind of, like little renovations here and there and stuff, my husband has this battery powered screwdriver that has, you can change out the heads on it. And I always saw him using this and I thought that like, how much better could this be? But it turns out it's a game changer because it has a function where you can either use it to remove screws or drive the screws in, and that made it so much easier to go to all of these different handles, remove them, and then put in the new ones. It was like so fast just because of this one tool. So that's all I've done so far in this home. I'm, like making lots of little changes here and there. So if you guys liked this video and felt like it gave you some really good tips, then let me know, because I'll start sharing all of the other things that we're doing in this house to make it feel like it's our own home without going overboard and making any major renovations to it. I think that's, it's something that's also given me a little bit of a new hobby, because I need something to do outside of just work, because otherwise I feel like I'm just working. I'm like, Mom, and working all the time. So I needed something that's gonna be some creativity in my life. So this has been a lot of fun just changing things out in this house. Tell me in the comments if you have any suggestions of other things that I could do in the home to make it feel a little bit more personal. Tell me if you're trying any of these things too, or if you have questions about it. Find me on Instagram, I'm at SUSANYARA, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.